How's it going, everybody? Daner here with North Central Coins, and welcome back to another episode of the most rare and valuable coins in Canada. Today we're going to be discussing the details and value of the 1973 Canadian Large Bust Mountie Quarter. Whether you're a coin roll hunter or a coin collector, you may know how thrilling it is to find a coin that can be worth a lot of money. Whether you're looking through your collection, pocket change, or you're searching through a bank box, there is a rare Canadian quarter heir that you should check for. This heir makes it much more valuable than the regular version of the coin, which is worth pretty much face value. Now, the 1973 25-cent Canadian Mountie Quarter has two different varieties. One of these coins is extremely rare and features a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II with a larger bust. The newer version, which is less rare, was redesigned to feature a reduced bust and a more detailed image. The 1973 25-cent Mountie coin was created to commemorate the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The obverse of the coin features an image of an officer on a horse. The common version of the 1973 Mountie Quarter features a newer design with a smaller bust and more details. The rare version features a larger bust, and only a small number of these coins exist. The Large Bust 1973 Mountie Quarter can be worth up to $1,000 due to its rarity and if it's in uncirculated condition. To be able to tell the difference between the common and rare version, I would really appreciate if you guys would hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you are new, and also hit that bell notification so you can see my new videos as they are being released. In the past, I've made several videos detailing the rare and valuable coins from all around the world, including countries such as Canada, the United States, Britain, Australia, New Zealand, and I'm going to be making plenty more in the future. So I'd appreciate if you guys would follow along. But what do you say we get into today's video and I explain how to identify the 1973 Large Bust Mountie Quarter. Let's get it, guys. Numismatists the world over are aware of an extremely rare quarter variety that comes from Canada. This coin is the 1973 Canadian Large Bust Mountie Quarter. Now, the Mountie Quarter was created 50 years ago to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Northwest Mounted Police, which was later called the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The Northwest Mounted Police was established in 1873 to maintain order in the Canadian Northwest Territories. In 1920, the Northwest Mounted Police and Dominion Police were amalgamated to form the RCMP. Now, depending on where you live in Canada, you may have different opinions on the RCMP. I am from the province of Ontario, and they do not have a very heavy presence here. I have not actually seen many RCMP throughout the course of my life or had any interactions with them. The police service we deal with here are the OPP, and for the most part, they are pretty good here. But if you want to let me know what you think of the RCMP down in the comments in a friendly way, I would love to know. The reverse of the coin was designed by Walter Ott, an Austrian-trained master engraver, artist, and designer who worked at the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa. The design shows a constable holding a bamboo-shafted lance carried by members of the RCMP on horseback. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police's horse breeding program began in 1939. In 1973, 134,958,587 quarters were produced for circulation, and proof and specimen coins were also made. The design was changed up from a caribou to the Mountie design, and the obverse die was retooled to ensure proper metal flow. The size of Queen Elizabeth II's obverse portrait was reduced to achieve fine details on the reverse, and the ornamental beading on the obverse was also modified. Virtually all of the 1973 RCMP Centennial Canadian quarters were struck with the smaller busts on the obverse, but a small amount of the coins were produced with the obverse of 1972, creating the two varieties of the small and large bust. The amount of coins with the large bust does not exceed 10,000 according to the Charlton and PCGS guides and website. When the dies were retooled in 1973, it resulted in a smaller portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse of the coin with greater refinement to her hair detail. Another way to differentiate between the large and small bust quarter is by the placement of the beads and the top of the letter A in Regina. The Large Bust Quarter has beads that sit close to the rim, and the top of the A points directly to a bead, while the Small Bust Quarter has beads set farther from the rim, and the top of the A points at a spot between two beads. The size of the bust and position of the head on the coin are extremely important details. On the large bust, the beads will appear to touch the rim of the coin, while there is space between the beads and the rim on the small bust quarter. If you're still unsure, one of the best ways is actually to compare it to a 1972 25-cent coin, which will have the large bust and bead arrangement as if it were the 1973 large bust. Now we'll get into the specifications and value of the 1973 Mounty quarters. They are composed of nickel. The monarch on the obverse of the coin is Queen Elizabeth II. It has a weight of 5.1 grams. They have a diameter of 23.8 millimeters, a thickness of 1.6 millimeters. The coin is in metal alignment, as most Canadian coins are, and the edge of the coin is reeded. Now, the Canadian 1973 Mountie Quarter comes in all three of the different Canadian finishes that were offered at that time. It comes in a business strike, which will get an MS designation. It comes in a proof strike, which will get the PL designation, and also a specimen, which will get the SP. Now, depending on the finish of the coin, it will heavily affect the value. The business strike is the most valuable of the bunch, but the other ones are quite valuable as well, and it's definitely a good idea to keep your eye open, especially at flea markets and if you're buying coins in an estate sale or maybe in a lot on eBay. So in terms of value, the 1973 small bust business strike is worth around $1 for an MS60, and it can actually be worth all the way up to $61 for an MS65. Now that is for the small bust quarter. Now the 1973 large bust is worth $346 for an MS60 example, and it can be worth all the way up to $3,240 for an MS65. That is buku, insane amounts of money. Now in my coin roll hunts, I have found thousands and thousands of the 1973 Mountie quarters. I still personally have not found any of the large busts. I have known people that have found the large bust before. If you were to find one of these in a high mint state, you can make some really good money off of it. And chances are, if you do find one of these coin roll hunting, it is probably going to be the business strike. Now let's get into the proof strikes. The 1973 proof strike is only worth around $1 in a PL64. It can be worth up to $39.20 for a PL67. The 1973 large bust proof strike can be worth around $177 for a PL63 and all the way up to $677 for a PL67. So even if you were able to identify a set that contains the 1973 large bust quarter and you pay like $100 for it, if it's in decent shape, you can send it off to be graded by a company like PCGS, NGC, maybe ICCS, and make quite a return on the coin. Now, lastly, we will discuss the specimen finishes for these coins. First, the 1973 small bust. It's worth around $1.94 for a specimen 66, and it can be worth all the way up to $14.70 for a specimen 67. The 1973 large bust specimen can be worth around $173 for an SP64 and all the way up to $539 for an MS67. Now, I have actually owned 1973 specimen sets. You can usually pick them up from your local coin shops for a pretty decent price. I'm guessing that they have probably done their due diligence and checked for the large bust already. So your best chance of finding sets that may contain the large bust quarter are probably in flea markets, estate sales, or maybe in a lot on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. Well, I think that is pretty much going to do it for this one. The 1973 large bust quarter is probably the most requested coin that I get questions about all the time. People want to know how much it is worth, where they can sell it. If you guys want to sell your coins, the best place is honestly to take them to your local coin shop. First, I would want to make sure and be very sure that it is the variety that I think it is, because if you bring a coin into a coin shop that you think is rare or valuable and it is worthless, they are probably going to laugh you out the door. So do your research. There are several resources out there. Now, what do you guys think about all of these quarters? What would you do if you ever found a legitimate example, or if you ever have found any of the coins that I discussed in this video or any that are similar? Please let me know down in the comments. I would love to know. Also, I would really appreciate if you guys would smash that thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and also ring that bell notification so you can stay up to date with my new videos as they are being released. But I think that is pretty much going to do it for this one, folks. So until the next one, everybody, peace out and have a good one, y'all.